The First Homecoming. After 5 years of sojourn to Europe, Rizal decided to return to the Philippines, despite disapproval from family members and friends. Before his first homecoming to the Philippines, he had a grand tour to Europe with Maximo Viola. Rizal and Viola to Dresden. The tour to Europe began through their visit of Potsdam, a city near Berlin. They saw the imposing mausoleum enclosing the statue of Frederick the Great. On May 11, 1887, Rizal and Viola left Berlin by train bound for Dresden. At Dresden, Rizal and Viola visited botanical gardens for viewing and scientific study. They were also impressed by the way the city fought to maintain monuments and landmarks of aesthetic and historical significance. While viewing the floral exposition, Rizal and Viola met Dr. J. Rizal told Dr. Jager that he planned to visit Leitmeritz, Czechoslovakia, to meet Blumentritt. However, Dr. Jager told Rizal to warn the professor of the arrival at Leitmeritz. In Leitmeritz, Rizal and Viola arrived at Leitmeritz. In the afternoon of May 13, 1887, they stepped down from the train that ferried them to Leitmeritz and were warmly received by Ferdinand Blumentritt. After the exchange of pleasantries, Blumentritt assisted the two Filipino expatriates to get a room at Hotel Krebs. Later, the professor invited Rizal and Viola to his residence. Viola appreciated so much the hospitality extended to them by Blumentritt and his wife, Rosa. While at Leitmeritz, Rizal gave his host lessons in Tagalog language. It was also during this time that Rizal met other well-known scientists of Europe, particularly Dr. Chavala and Dr. Klacek. Rizal and these two scientists had some small talks about the Philippines and Leitmeritz. The two Filipino doctors were also invited to a meeting of the Tourist Club of Leitmeritz, with Blumentritt as secretary. During this meeting, Rizal extemporaneously talked in German language about the pleasant and relaxing scenes of Austria and its hospitable, nature-loving, and noble people. Those in attendance of the meeting were very much impressed with Rizal's fluency and eloquence in German. Rizal made a pencil sketch of Blumentritt and gave it to him. Blumentritt was so pleased with his gift, which to him as a gesture of cordial friendship. On their last night, Rizal and Viola invited the Blumentritt family in Hotel Krebs and tendered a farewell dinner to express their gratitude for the hospitality. At around 9:30 in the morning of May 17, 1887, Rizal and Viola left Leitmeritz by train bound for Prague, a historic city and capital of Czechoslovakia. In Prague, to facilitate their visit into the different historic spots, Blumentritt gave Rizal and Viola letters of recommendations to Dr. Wellcome, a history professor at the University of Prague. The professor welcomed them and accompanied the two in visiting historic places and spots in Prague. They took time to visit the tomb of Nicolaus Copernicus, a famous Polish astronomer, the Museum of Natural History, the bacteriological laboratories, and the celebrated cave where the San Juan Nepomuceno node was killed. After a few days, Viola and Rizal went to Vienna via Bonn. In Vienna, Rizal and Viola arrived at Vienna, the capital of Austria-Hungary, on May 20, 1887. The two Filipino doctors spent 4 days visiting the beautiful buildings and examining holy images and states. Rizal and Viola took time to see art galleries, museums, public parks, and recreation centers. They stayed in the city at the Hotel Metropole. To change the routine of their travel, the two decided to take a small boat that took them to the famous Danube River. As the boat plied the river, Rizal was amazed by the scenery and charmed by the lovely vaults. What impressed him the most were the archaic villages on the riverside, which were serene and peaceful. In Linz and rainfall. The end of their Danube River voyage ended in Linz. They left Austria from Salzburg, the birthplace of Mozart, and re-entered Germany upon arrival at Munich on May 27, 1887. From Munich, they proceeded to Nuremberg, where they saw the horrible torture machines used during Inquisition against enemies of the Catholic Church. From Munich, the two proceeded to Ulm. The city was known for having the largest and the tallest cathedral in Germany. Rizal and Viola climbed its many hundred steps. From Ulm, Rizal and Viola moved to Stuttgart, Baden, and Rainfall. It was at Rainfall where they saw the Peene waterfall, the most beautiful waterfall in the continent of Europe. In Switzerland, Rizal and Viola crossed the Swiss border via Schaffhausen from Rainfall. The two made brief stops at Basel, Bern, and Lausanne. From Lausanne, they took a small boat and landed to Geneva, the most beautiful and frequent city of Switzerland. Upon arriving in Geneva, Rizal received the news from his friends in Madrid of the deplorable conditions of the primitive egrets who were exhibited in the exposition on the Philippines. From the side news, Rizal learned that some of the egrets died and that their G-strings and crude weapons had become objects of mockery and laughter by the Spanish press and the Spaniards. As an advocate of human dignity, Rizal was infuriated and resented the degradation of his fellow man. From northern Lausanne. This protest was communicated by Rizal to Blumentritt on June 6, 1887. Meanwhile, the two spent some afternoons on boating the Leman Lake. These boat trips that they had gave Rizal the opportunity to demonstrate his skillfulness in rowing and steering the boat. It was also at Geneva where Rizal celebrated his 26th birthday. After being together for 15 days in the city, the two parted ways on June 23, 1887. Rizal toured Italy while Viola returned to Barcelona. In Italy, Rizal continued his travel to Italy. He visited the cities of Turin, Milan, Venice, Florence, and Rome. The city of Rome, the Eternal City, the site of the Vatican, the seat authority of the Roman Catholic Church, and capital of the ancient Roman Empire, attracted him so much. In Rome, Rizal was impressed by the fine example of Renaissance architecture. He was very much amazed with the Colosseum and the Roman Forum. There, he spent long hours reminiscing the past and recreating life to the ruins. After a week of travel in Rome, Rizal prepared for his homecoming to the Philippines. Planned to return to the Philippines. Even before 1887, Rizal wanted to go back to the Philippines. In fact, as early as 1884, he expressed his desire to return to his homeland. So in 1887, motivated by following reasons, Rizal decided to return to his homeland. 1. To operate his mother's eyes. 2. To serve people oppressed by the Spaniards. 3. To find out for himself the effects of his novel, Noli, to the Filipinos and the Spaniards. And 4th, to find out the cause of Leonor Rivera's silence. Rizal arrives in Manila. After 5 years of being away from home, Rizal left Rome by train headed from Marseille, France, on July 3, 1887. He boarded the Gemna, the same vessel that ferried him to the continent 5 years ago. The vessel was on the journey to the Orient via the Suez Canal from France. Vessel had its stopover in Aden. From Aden, the voyage was continued till the vessel reached Saigon. From Saigon, Rizal transferred to the steamer Haipong, which reached Manila on August 5, 1887. He stayed in Manila for 3 days. He visited and called up Isabella de los Reyes twice, but was unable to find him. Later on, he visited Ateneo. Attempts were made by Jesus to win Rizal back to fall on his old faith. Father Faura showed Rizal the image of the Sacred Heart of Jesus, which he carved during his student days. He told Rizal what was wrong with the Noli. Rizal simply responded by saying what he wrote was the truth. Back to Calamba. Rizal arrived in Calamba on August 8, 1887. He found his family in the best of health. Moreover, Rizal was receiving threats every day. His family was, therefore, very anxious about his safety, so Pasiano accompanied him wherever he went to protect Rizal from untoward incident. Calamba Agrarian Problem. As the World War on Noli Me Tangere continued, Rizal was embroiled into the Calamba agrarian problem. Rizal's exposure of the deplorable plight of the tenants, attested by the complaints and hacienda officials, aroused the ear of the friars. The friars pressured Malacañang to have Rizal eliminated. As consequence, Rizal's security was at stake. Governor Terrero reiterated his advice to Rizal to leave the country for good. In the same way, his parents and relatives compelled him to leave for his own good and escape the wrath of the friars. Trials Rizal went through for his advocacy. As a result of advocating the plight of tenants in Calamba, Rizal had to leave his family again. Worse, his family was evicted from the Dominican-owned hacienda in his hometown. Rizal leaves Calamba for the second time. Rizal was obliged to leave Calamba for the second time because his stay in his hometown might expose his family and friends' worry and anxiety. Harassed and persecuted by the friars, he did not have any option but to leave the country. In February 1888, by this time he was already 27 years old, a medical practitioner, and a recognized man of letters.